Ladies and gentlemen, there is no way that the former vice president is going to accept the Democratic nomination. The entire thing is a charade. When it happens, I will have made the biggest political call of all time. Share my Times of Israel article below. Hillary Clinton, not Biden, will be nominee. And share my Huffington Post article written in 2017. Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. It's going to be so Democratic convention moves to a smaller venue as delegates are urged to stay away. New York Times. The Democratic National Committee is changing its plans for the August event at which Joe Biden will accept the presidential nomination because of the pandemic concerns. This is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. I'll tell you why in a second. Associated Press. Democrats confirm plans for nearly all virtual convention. Do you understand that my live streams will be more viewed than the Democratic convention if it's Biden? It will be the most absurd, inept. You're talking about a political machine like Tammany Hall, and you're talking about Madam Secretary and Bill. You can equate them to Boss Tweed or all the other political bosses that ran Tammany Hall. They're not inept. They're not incompetent. And they're not going to throw away over $1 billion of money. They outspent Trump 2-1. President Trump's going to win again. It's just a matter of what they're capable of in terms of a biblical temper tantrum leading up to their eventual loss and after. The polls, okay, Democrats are overrepresented by around 5 to 10% in each of these polls, where they say, oh, Trump is down 14. But we'll get to all of that in a second. Democrats confirm plan for nearly all virtual convention. That's absurd. They can hide behind the pandemic, but the real issue is that there's no enthusiasm for Biden. Within those polls, the actual data that's actually relevant is that Biden is down by 35 to 40% in terms of enthusiasm. With Clinton, they not only get the enthusiasm because she could be the first female president. Russia stole the election from her. They're going to replay the same themes. They have programmed Democratic. They created this matrix where Democratic voters and Twitter and the resistance and everyone on the left, pretty much everyone on the left, believes that Russia stole the election from Madam Secretary. And they infiltrated the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated, thus giving Clinton the popular vote, and somehow targeting swing states. But this is not going to happen. This is not just about my prediction, because let me explain something. Anybody who doesn't want to watch this channel, HHN Goodmans Other channel, check that, subscribe to that channel. And by the way, if you want to support my voice long term, to my new Patreons, thank you. My Patreon link is below in the pinned comment and description. Thank you very much. Your support is actually greatly appreciated and really helps me do what I do. But Democrats will hold an almost entirely virtual presidential nomination convention August 17th to the 20th in Milwaukee using live broadcasts and online streaming. Okay, number one, they're not going to go with Biden. They're not going to go with Biden, just like they weren't going to elect Bill de Blasio for president or Eric Swalwell, just like Michael Bloomberg didn't spend $1.2 billion in about 3 months because he really thought he was going to become president, just like Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar didn't miraculously, coincidentally drop out a day before Super Tuesday, and Bloomberg and Elizabeth Warren didn't just coincidentally drop out a day after Super Tuesday. Joe Biden plans to accept the presidential nomination in person, but it remains to be seen whether there will be significant in-person audience to see it. The Democratic National Committee said in a statement that official business, including the votes to nominate Biden and his yet-to-be-named running mate, will take place virtually, with delegates being asked not to travel to Milwaukee. They're not traveling. Okay, nobody's going to be there because nobody wants Biden and there's no enthusiasm for Biden, but also in some way, and I can't think of exactly why, but this benefits Clinton. Hillary Clinton will be the nominee. It will not be Biden. And if by some absurd, like if they want to tank their chances, because they don't even believe the polls. Okay, there's a Michigan, Debbie Dingell and Whitmer in Michigan, they both said, yeah, don't believe the polls. Okay, even Democrats are looking at these polls and their public relations stunts, their ploys. Okay, you have apoplectic, hysterical media coverage. Every day, anything that happens is Trump's fault. On Twitter, they're delusional enough to deceive themselves into thinking that Trump has the same cognitive issues as Biden. That is absurd. We can go into everything that he's stated for the past 8 months, 9 months. If they focused on his actual gaffes and just this kind of like, he communicates like an exhumed body. You're talking about it's like Tales from the Crypt, but you add some Botox and some weird plastic surgery. Who knows what's going on there? In any debate with Trump, he would get completely creamed and obliterated and completely and utterly destroyed. This is not... So I'm looking at this from a rational vantage point, not because I made this prediction and whatever. Like, people say, oh, well, you know what? I'm not going to ever watch you again. Why? You don't have to, believe me. Because I will have one of the biggest live streams on November 3rd. On this channel, HHN Goodmans Other channel, I'll have numerous live streams, uploads when President Trump wins. Biden's not going to get the turnout. They know that. There's nothing that Biden offers. So when they say he's up 14 points, they say, well, people don't like Trump's pandemic response and his response to protests. Well, there are a great many ways to look at that. Every store that's every building burnt to the ground gives Trump a whole lot of votes. And there are a great many ways to look at this. Democrats think that media can prop up Biden. Democrats also don't want people to realize that their political party is a complete sham and facade and charade. They're propping up Biden. They're propping up their political party with these fabricated, absurd, ludicrous polls that say he's up by 14 nationally. Even within those polls, like the CNN poll, not only are Democrats overrepresented in all the major polls by like 10 percentage points, but so they're asking more Democrats. Well, what do you expect? But when there's questions that talk about the economy, Trump easily surpasses Biden by like 16 points, even in that CNN poll. People are going to vote based on their pocketbook. The economy, we had record low unemployment. Okay, President Trump is a very good president. He just signed. This is why I'm voting for President Trump. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. This is before Rose Twitter and all the enlightened, wonderful people who have ran Bernie's movement into the ground, which Bernie did himself also. That man is a human, like a walking doormat for the Democratic Party, but whatever. Okay. Oh, yeah, Russia, if you're listening, don't help me. That's where that politician went. But anyway, I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. You can read those links below. Okay. I'm voting for President Trump because he's the only president whose administration would have signed a peace deal to get us out of America's longest-running military conflict, war, and counterinsurgency quagmire in Afghanistan. We just signed a deal in late February, early March. Nobody's talking about it because nobody cares. On the left, nobody cares. They're too busy trying to erase history to care about the future. So they don't care. They don't care that American soldiers are away from their families. Thousands upon thousands of American soldiers are away from their families forever. away from their sons, their daughters, their wives, their husbands, their fathers, their mothers, their families, their friends, forever. They don't care because they're retweeting the wonderful Bill Kristol, who has already blamed Russia if Democrats lose again. They're blaming Russia and disinformation and foreign election interference. You think they're doing it for Biden. Biden is not going to be nominee because there's zero enthusiasm. There is enthusiasm for Clinton, and he doesn't run the political machine. Clinton does. And then going into the home stretch, he's not going to get the media buzz. Now, Clinton accepts the nomination. The entire planet watches. In awe, in horror, there's a whole, there are a great many reasons, primarily because the Clintons run the Democratic Party. It's a political machine. We've had it before. Read up on Boss Tweed and Tammany Hall, and I just got it. It's an awesome little book. Plunkett of Tammany Hall, a series of very plain talks and very practical politics. George W. Plunkett. He was one of the political bosses, just like Boss Tweed in the Democratic Party. It's a machine. It's a machine. Anyway, they're going to run a completely virtual convention. All virtual convention with a person who doesn't know how to speak during live streams. With a person who has nobody watching his live streams. With a person who has technical difficulties every time he's in his basement. With a person who would get absolutely obliterated in any debate with President Trump. See, the problem with Democrats is they're so consumed, their lives, their souls, their spirits are so consumed with contempt against for Trump. They despise him so much they can't engage in basic critical thinking. They have no logic anymore. There's zero logic. So they cheated Bernie Sanders, kicked him to the curb yet again this year, like I knew he would be. And his movement was like completely taken over by social media. Which, by the way, Bernie Sanders in 2016 was a completely different person. But you know what? He probably was the same political entity. If he really cared about all the things that he claimed to care about, he would have joined the Green Party. So, Medicare for All is a very noble endeavor, and it's wonderful if it's feasible. Apparently, it's not feasible. Democrats only used it to get left-leaning votes into the Democratic Party, and when you get all the never Biden people, those will be Clinton people in a heartbeat, in a second. So I don't care whether it's, coach, I slid into second, tore my ACL. Okay, well, call up Rodham. Call up Madam Secretary. I don't know how, so 13 minutes in. I don't know, so to my 13-minute crowd, I don't know how it's going to happen. And even if, I'm still going to go with Clinton is going to be nominee, even if Biden actually accepts the nomination and 2 people watch on the live stream. Are you going to watch? You watching this channel, I'm a Trump supporter. I'm voting for President Trump because he signed that deal to bring Americans home, to set the groundwork to bring Americans home. And he's also addressing the $400 billion trade deficit with China. He was. I mean, the thing is, the issue with the pandemic, 5 states, all run by Democrats. And God bless the people of New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Illinois, and Pennsylvania. These are Democratic Party machines that run those states. 5 Democratic-run states, blue states, account for over half of the lives lost. Half of the lives lost in the United States of America from the pandemic. They would say, if it was 5 red states, they would say, oh my God, it's a red state issue. Oh my God, look how backwards Trump supporters are. God forbid you bring up the actual statistics and facts. And then it's, of course, Trump's fault because the New York governor said on March 1st that the risk to New York remains low and that people shouldn't have undue anxiety. He literally tweeted that. He gets away with everything. But Joe Biden says, 3 days before George Floyd was murdered, Joe Biden says, if you have a problem deciding who you're for, then you ain't black. Okay. Deciding if you're for me or Trump. So, that's swept under the rug. all his absurd press conferences and well, he hasn't had a press conference in 4 months or whatever. They're trying to hide him as long as they can because they think, well, they have a virtual convention because they're going to nominate Hillary Clinton. I'm still going with Clinton being on that ballot. And even if they nominate Biden, Clinton's going to be on that ballot. But they're not going to pass up the opportunity. If they passed up the opportunity, they would not only lose the election, the Durham probe continues, William Barr and John Durham keep William Barr remains as Attorney General. President Trump remains in office. There's no way that Biden defeats Trump because Biden does not. Okay, fear or dislike of Trump is not enough to get voter turnout. Biden has done nothing in his decades, 40-year career. He doesn't inspire anyone. Zero inspiration. Zero enthusiasm. Except if you're, a blue check mark on Twitter and then, oh my God, you love Biden because, we need to get Trump out. Other than that, you're looking at Minnesota could go to President Trump. Go look at my NPR article. The NPR quoted me and 538 in the same paragraph. And people say, oh, your predictions are wrong. They don't really know what I've ever predicted. I predicted the 2016 election, and I said Clinton will lose to Trump, and NPR quoted me below. Go check it out. It's below in the pinned comment and description. They're not going to waste, it's a political machine, number one. Number two, they're not going to waste $1 billion+ on Biden. Number three, they don't have the voter turnout with Biden. Number four, it's the centennial of the 19th Amendment. Number five, President Trump would eat Biden up alive. Eat him up alive. They have to actually splice up moments of President Trump and actually splice it up. And they disregard the former vice presidents, meandering into Never Neverland whenever he speaks. In this, cloudy, hazy, world that he enters. And you're talking about not only slurring of speech, but you're talking about communicating in the same manner he looks, like an exhumed body. Look at pictures of Biden and Trump. You might not like Trump, but he looks like he's alive and he can communicate and he expresses himself and he tells jokes and he's boisterous and he's loud. Biden is like there are subtitles when he speaks. Okay, Democrats have literally put subtitles on many of his videos. So anyway, give me your thoughts below. Subscribe to HHN Goodmans Other channel. I have a great segment up today. I'm going to be doing a lot on HHN Goodmans Other channel. Get it to 20,000 subs. I will have made the biggest political call of all time, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way they're going to go with Biden on that ballot. No way. Now, the question mark is how it happens. I don't know. Biden could jump into the reflecting pool without any clothes on. He could streak down Pennsylvania Avenue. He can, try to tear down a statue with protesters. Who knows? Who knows what Biden will do? Biden's going to do something because the Charlemagne interview, that was his attempt at trying to tank his own campaign. Nobody is that out of touch to say something like that, especially a Democrat. So the Charlemagne interview was an attempt, and then that was 3 days before, actually, the tragedy in Minneapolis. A blue Democratic Party run city and state. Minnesota might go to Trump. Because when you have $1.4 trillion in property damage by one estimate throughout the country, the average American, or I should say, swing voters, independents, don't look at that and say, gosh, that's Trump's fault. They don't look at the pandemic and say it's Trump's fault, especially if they live in a state where their governor told them, everything's fine. The governors run the states. Okay, that's why different governors do different things. Some states didn't even officially shut down. It's not Trump's fault. And then they say, it's the intelligence community gave them information. No, the intelligence community didn't. They would have leaked the information like the Steele dossier. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. I will have made the biggest political call of all time, ladies and gentlemen. And for anyone who says, "Oh, I'm not going to watch you if it's Biden," okay, then we'll just have one of the most amazing nights in the history of the internet when Trump wins again re-election. That's half of my prediction and prophecy that Trump is going to get reelected. I've been saying that since the moment he won. So he'll get reelected, but I'm telling you they ain't going with Biden. The only chance that Democrats have, I am telling you, Clinton could actually win. She won't, but she has like I give her a 20% chance to win. Biden has a 0% chance. The polls are complete garbage. Okay, 0%. He couldn't even win. He couldn't even become mayor of your city. Okay, because in a debate, he would get probably obliterated by the incumbent, the mayor that's currently in your city. So anyway, give me your thoughts below. The only chance they have, ladies and gentlemen, and they know this too, is Clinton. Regardless, they don't care about losing. It's a political machine. So they get paid a lot more if Clinton loses than if Biden loses. But literally the only chance they have is with Hillary Clinton. And they know this. Give me your thoughts below. Clinton will accept that nomination, and it will be the most viewed Democratic convention of all time. With Clinton accepting on the centennial of the 19th Amendment after Russia cheated her, and, God forbid, who knows what's going to take place, but, she miraculously saves the party and whatever, they transfer it from Biden to her somehow, who knows. She will save the Democratic Party and still lose to President Trump, but it'll be the most watched convention of all time, even though nobody's there when Hillary accepts. Give me your thoughts below. Check out my live streams. Thank you so very much. And subscribe to HHN Goodmans Other channel right